What's the best accidental nudity you've seen? Story 1. The time I got a peek at my friend's older sister's underwear. I was in my best friend's beach house when I was 16. He had a hot sister that was about 20 at the time. We were watching TV in the living room, and she came in to hang out with us wearing a t-shirt and loose-fitting boy shorts. They looked more like boxers, to be honest. She sat near me and put her legs up so that I had a marvelous view of her lady parts through the baggy leg of the shorts. I tried not to stare, but it was cool when I was 16. Story 2. The main bedroom camera, a technician's awkward encounter. I installed security alarms, cameras, sensors, locks. On one install, I placed the camera in the main bedroom as the husband had asked. While I was still installing, I checked the cameras and finished up the tests. The wife came out of the bathroom completely naked from the shower. I hastily tried to exit the screen, but the husband, who was peering over my shoulder, told me not to and just stared at his naked wife while I was between him and the screen. Story 3. The bathroom incident. How I lost my privacy. My sister and her boyfriend were having sex. It was hard to tell with the noise. After an hour, I heard her door close, and I think, thank God he left. I can take a shit now. I walk into the bathroom, drop my pants in the dark, and squat when the lights turn on. Her boyfriend walks out fully naked and says, "Ready for more?" I stare in shock, and he realizes that I'm not my sister, coughs, and walks away. I no longer feel safe to shit in my bathroom, so I pull my pants up and go to bed. Story 4. A childhood lesson. The day I saw a woman's unmentionables. When I was about 6, I was at the ocean with my parents. My dad played with me in the breaking waves on the beach. I saw a rough wave wash over this young lady a few feet from us, which swept her bikini bottom off. I couldn't believe it, and no one, including her, seemed to be aware for several long seconds. It was a massive late 1970s bush. I saw it before my dad and pointed and yelled, "Look at the hair." My dad was up to speed quickly and swept me up, facing me the other way as the guy appeared with the woman and somehow found her bikini before it was lost forever. She was sitting in the water when he brought them over and said, "You lose something?" I learned a lot that day. Story 5. Cruise ship mishap. The day I accidentally saw a woman's breasts. I was on a Mediterranean cruise in the summer, so the top deck was filled with people sunbathing. This one lady with rather large boobs was sunbathing with her family and taking off her bikini straps, as some of them do to avoid tan lines. Anyway, she accidentally dropped it, and I got a full view of one of her boobs. She looked around to see if anybody noticed, caught my eye, and gave me a cheeky grin before I looked away, blushing. Story 6. The naked girl across the street. My embarrassing encounter at work. I was working in my first fish and chip shop, and just across the road were a bunch of terrace houses. The windows upstairs start on the floor. But I assumed the girl had no idea. My mom pointed it out to me, and it was a girl butt naked in front of her window. The guy in the garage around the corner was walking down the street opposite her window and got an eye complete, too. I later learned she was the sister of a guy I went to school with. Story 7. The math teacher's dress disaster. My high school memory. When I was a junior in high school, I had a math teacher that was probably in her late 20s or early 30s. One day near the end of the first semester, she was wearing a dress of sorts. It was in Florida, so it wasn't getting cold at all. And she was trying to reach something off the top shelf near her desk when the two straps holding up her dress just snapped and the entire dress fell to her feet. Sure, she was still wearing panties, but the dress didn't hide bra straps, which was nice. I didn't have her the second semester, but from what I heard, she got in trouble for wearing inappropriate attire for a teacher and was suspended for the first month of the semester. Story 8. A rainy night at summer camp. The nudist encounter. As a kid, I always went to summer camp in a different state, and we often took multi-day canoe trips around the general area. On one of these trips, after a long day of paddling down a river, the trip leader decided to stop on an island and set up camp for the night. As the day progressed, the sunshine turned to rain. Before we knew it, it was a full-on monsoon. As a bunch of other boys and I huddled under a tarp, someone pointed out two people swimming on the other side of the river. We noticed it's two guys and a girl and continue to watch. Before we know it, the girl stands up, revealing that she's wholly nude. All three were skinny dipping. Being teenage boys, we began to yell and wave at them, asking if they would like any s'mores while taking turns looking through the binoculars. We thought they would be embarrassed. However, they weren't fazed by this, and one of the dudes began to swim over. I'll never forget his face as he got closer and realized we were a bunch of little kids. We gave him more. Story 9. Accidental nudity at the Flow Rider, a water park mishap. I was at an indoor water park waiting in line for the attraction that simulates surfing, Flow Rider. Well, this cute girl was up, and she bailed face first. Now, if you know these attractions, you know there is much force behind the water. As it turns out, it's enough force to remove a person's bikini, both top and bottom altogether. It must have been embarrassing for her, but I liked the piercings. Story 10. Sneak peek. My unplanned encounter with a naked friend. I left my house after my sister and her two friends came over, one of whom was banging with a fantastic body that I may have thought about once or twice. Anyway, nobody else was home. I forgot something in my room, so I ran back in, but nobody heard me come in. I walked down the hallway to my room and past my sister's open doorway. I glance over, and my brain locks me into place mid-stride. My jaw hits the floor, while it burns the image of her butt naked, cupping her breasts. They all look over me and scream. I can't look away. Finally, she runs toward me and closes the door. I ran to my room, took a few minutes to savor what I saw, and left. Story 11. An awkward snorkeling experience. A woman's body part pops out. I was about 10 and we went snorkeling with a group on vacation. This old, unattractive woman's breast popped out while she was underwater. She didn't notice. I couldn't stop staring. These were the first natural boobs I ever saw. Story 12. Model gone wild. An awkward moment at work. I used to work in an electronics store. We regularly had promo staff and reps in on the weekends to sell their stuff in store. This particular weekend, we had 3 models promoting some camera or other. Late afternoon, I go into the customer collections room, where reserved stock is kept, to look for an item. As I'm looking for something, these 3 girls burst in and start stripping off their branded dresses to change and go home. In shock, I say, "Do you want me to go out?" They're like, "Nah, it's okay." Then some checkout girl comes in, laughs, gasps, and drags me out. Gutted. Story 13. The hotel balcony encounter, a newlywed couple's private moment. I work at a hotel on the beach. Usually every night before I leave, I take a walk around the building to make sure everything is okay, people are quiet, etc. All of our rooms have balconies, but luckily, the way our building is set up, you can't see into another balcony from another balcony. Earlier that day, I had a newlywed couple checking in. All went normal then. Later that night, I did my rounds and saw them on their balcony. He's leaning against the patio chair turned backward, pants pulled down, and he's getting on the chair, giving him head. Okay, for all purposes, that's technically an evictable offense, but I just remembered they're a newlywed couple. No one else can see them on their balcony the way our building is configured, so I just turned around, walked back outside, and let it be. At least I know their marriage got off to a good start. Hopefully it stayed that way. Story 14. Bar night gone wild. The flashback. During college, I was drunk at a party that ended up moving to a local bar. One of the hot girls in the class ahead of me came up to this other dude and me. The other dude, I guess, had a bet with her or something and took her walking up as the perfect time to remind her. He said to remember, you still need to flash me, for who cares what it was. I might be paraphrasing. She gives him an annoyed look and then flashes the both of us for 5 to 10 seconds. Adorable boobs. Would look again.